to start. There it goes. Hey, Craig, real fast, say your first and last name and where you're calling in from today.
Craig Ballantyne, Delray Beach, Florida.
Okay. Hey, Craig, welcome to Timelines. Good to have you on from Delray Beach, Florida.
Yeah, thanks so much.
So the first question we always ask is something to grab the listener's attention. And it's so much on everyone's mind right now. What is an O1 visa?
An O1 visa stands for outstanding, and I always laugh every time I say that because it reminds me of the Simpsons episode where they give Homer an award for outstanding achievement in a field of excellence. But mine is for being a fitness expert and helping people through Men's Health magazine, and doing a lot of speaking. So that's how I got my O1 visa.
Very good, very good. O1 visa. So you're a Canadian down here in the United States. So can you pretty much for the rest of your life go back and forth?
I have to renew the visa every couple of years, but it's a 3-year visa or 3 or 5 year visa. So once I come down here, I can stay as long as I want, which compared to a normal Canadian citizen, they have to go back after 90 days. So I can stay as long as I want and just go back and forth. And I pay the taxes in both countries.
Oh, wow. You have to, I was going to ask that question. You pay taxes in both countries. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a tax treaty though. So what you pay in America is then shaved off your Canadian taxes.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, it's very complicated. I mean, I think that might even be an oversimplification of things, but our business is in Denver, so that's where I pay my Colorado state taxes, and then I think I pay a little federal tax, and then I pay my Canadian taxes too.
Well, we're going to be talking about you and your health at work and what you do, and I've definitely recognized you from Men's Health, and I've been reading it for a long time. But before that, I'm going to have one last side note. If you're an American citizen and I go like to the Marshall Islands, and I stay out more than 11 months of the year, the first 90,000 is tax free.
Right.
And then I live in Nevada where we don't pay any state tax, which is nice because it does add up, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, so Americans, if you have that income and doesn't matter where you live, you have to pay the American taxes eventually.
Right. So that said, let's get into what you do in the background. So health, your business is Early to Rise, and that's a company that you bought later on in life, and you had one before that. So take us back to how you got into the online business. And I understand you started in 1999.
Yeah, I started in 1999 sending out an email newsletter through Hotmail, believe it or not. So I had 3,000 people on my email list at one point, and I was putting all of the addresses into the BCC line, and you can only put 50 addresses in at a time. So you can do the math on how many emails I was sending out to send out a 3,000 person newsletter. So I was doing that. I had no idea what I was doing. Not too many people did back then. And then I got into Men's Health magazine, which was a huge breakthrough for me. And then I started selling information products online in 2001. And then I started selling videos, and we've sold hundreds of thousands of copies of my programs. Turbulence training is one of my main ones. Home Workout Revolution, follow along workout videos. And so that really got me through until 2011 when I bought Early to Rise, which is a personal development, success, and wealth building newsletter that I had been following for years. It started in 2001. I bought it after it had been around for 10 years, and we've been running that for 5 years now. And then I just wrote my book, The Perfect Day Formula.
So I just pulled I got your little note here. It says 10 hours before bed, no caffeine. I totally agree, but I love coffee, so I'm drinking it anyway.
Yeah, it's tough for some people. For people like me, it's not too hard because I'm not much of a caffeine drinker. But that article, the 10-3-2-1-0 formula, has gone viral around the world. I've been interviewed on Russian television. It's been on the Australian version of the Today Show. It's been on several major newspaper websites in the UK, and it sent us hundreds of thousands of visitors to my website just because it was easy to remember, but also easy for people to disagree with, and therefore controversial articles and lots of angry comments at me. So it's pretty funny.
And 2 hours before bed, no more work. Like I'm a workaholic sometimes. And 1 hour before bed, no more screen time. Oh no, I'm terrible. We're terrible.
Yeah, well, this is really just like, if you want to have a great night's sleep, here's the formula you follow. If you are willing to sacrifice a great night's sleep because you want to watch, Game of Thrones in bed until you try and go to bed after watching it on your iPad, then realize that you might not have a great sleep, and then that's okay. But if you want to have the perfect night's sleep, follow that formula.
I am a big believer in sleep. I'm negligent. I for some reason I work late into the night sometimes. But the best I ever did at West Point was my junior year, and I had a roommate, and he and I always went to bed right before taps, which was 11 o'clock back then. But in the old days, it was even promoted in the military to just to stay up, drive through, nominal amount of sleep. And I don't think that's good. I think the military is actually changing their viewpoint on it too.
Well, it's funny, you put the military, you put doctors, you put, people that are driving on the roads. Those are the people who need sleep, and they are some of the people that get the least sleep. So no wonder it's a dangerous world.
Well, an entrepreneur, if they want to be successful and get a lot done, I know you have to sleep. And it's one of my things I have to constantly work at. I think we always have to work at diet and health and lifestyle, and sleep is one of those. So tell us a little bit more about what other products you have and what you do, and some of the success principles, like how to stay in shape, what type of exercise routines.
Right. So what we have done is get away from the traditional cardiovascular focus on exercise. And I actually have a new book coming out in December of 2016 called The Great Cardio Myth, where we talk about how cardio was never meant for weight loss. It was just meant for health. And even then, there's better ways to do it. And so you and I were talking before this call about how you were training, and you weren't training with long, slow workouts. You were training with short burst, real life applicable ways to get in shape. And that is what works these days. Now, that's what I started with in the early 2000s. And then so many of my clients said, well, I don't have any equipment, Craig, so I don't know what to do. And so I really did a deep dive into the bodyweight exercise world. And some of my programs have over 100 bodyweight exercise versions in there. And so that's really what I started out with. And then I got more into this, real personal productivity and time management and success angle that the Perfect Day Formula is about, because I really wanted to help people get more done, make more money, but still get home on time for dinner and have that separation between work life and home life, which, as you're finding out, is difficult when you're an entrepreneur, but you can do it. And I'm really impressed by successful people that do pull that off and are able to have that, okay, I'm going to shut that work down for now and focus on, time with their kids. So that's really what I'm trying to help people achieve, is a really, really wonderful life.
Those are tough things to do, especially if you're entrepreneurs. My wife and I are both entrepreneurs. She's a real estate broker. I've been doing digital marketing now for 5 years. And prior to getting back in the military, I had a design build construction company. But we do work a lot. But I absolutely know that you got to have balance. If you don't have balance, you get out of balance and things go wrong. And
I know it's so, in these days and in this day and age, it's so popular to hear about the entrepreneur that doesn't sleep, and it's kind of this badge of honor. But we do solve problems better when we get sleep. We are more creative when we get sleep, and so it is important for us to at least try to do it and to monitor. Okay, here's how I respond when I have 8 hours of sleep, and compare that to here's how I respond when I have 6 hours of sleep. And the bottom line is, at the end of the day, in addition to how we respond as entrepreneurs, it's also taking care of our health and as well. So we have to just add all those factors in order to be successful.
I'm looking at your 3-2-1 or 10-3-2-1-0 or whatever it is. And I agree with everything that's on there. It's just making yourself do it. It's just having the discipline and get more done and plan your time. So I take it you're going into like planning and time management, which we're going to talk about in your life and success principles. Really, this whole show, instead about you, is more about these life and success principles that we're going to go into. Hey, a little bit of background. So you start out in Canada. What kind of sports were you in when you were young?
I was really into ice hockey, which is, obvious for Canadian. And then soccer was actually my best sport. So that was, it was still really popular where I was from anyways. And so I like those two sports. I'm not much for basketball or baseball, and we didn't really have football at my high school, so I didn't get into that. So I'm a hockey and soccer guy.
Well, hockey's huge. I have 4 brother-in-laws from Mass and Boston area, and they're all hockey players, including my wife. Right. I think she did a little bit of hockey. She's a really good skater.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's it. Canada. Have you ever read the Who Goes Pro out of Canada in the hockey business when their birthday is? It's Malcolm Goodwell. He's
yeah. So they're all like born early in the year, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's just the right timing. I have a daughter in I have 2 daughters in gymnastics, and one is born at the perfect time for gymnastics cycle in USA Gymnastics.
Oh, there you go.
26, right after the regionals and all the end of the season, she has a birthday. And I can really tell that does make a difference.
Wow. Yeah, it's very interesting to see how, people get lined up in the right things. And these days, there's a big shift in the way that, kids are getting involved in sports and stuff. I was just talking to somebody about the spread of lacrosse. Like, lacrosse is becoming popular on the West Coast now, as opposed to just being an East Coast sport.
Yeah, I'm from the West Coast. First time I saw it when I showed up at West Point, I saw lacrosse, and I really never seen
Right.
it before. Indians developed the game or something. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really popular in around the Toronto area.
Yeah, it's foreign to us out in West. It's just not becoming popular. Kids are playing it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Hey, so driving on, sure, you're in sports Canada. How do you end up? What'd you do in between where you are today and when you're in high school?
Well, it's funny. I wanted to be a strength and conditioning coach in the National Hockey League, which is what I was my career goal when I realized I wasn't going to make it as a player. And so I went down that route. I got a bachelor's of kinesiology degree, and then I was on working on my master's degree in exercise physiology when I started writing for Men's Health. And I realized I was more of a nerd, books and writing and reading than I was about standing in the gym all day long. And so when I found out I could sell information products on the internet and help people all around the world to achieve their goals, I really put all my energy into that. And so after I graduated, I was personal trainer for a while, but also I was really focused on building the online business.
Very good. So, are you married? Have a family?
No, no marriage, no family. Just I wouldn't say that I work too much. It's just traveling is a problem. It can really hurt the relationship. So that's something that I'm working very hard on cutting down.
Well, my son just got engaged, and he's in the Coast Guard, and he just got orders to Puerto Rico. So he's in Puerto Rico and he's engaged. So,
Wow. How often does he get to come back?
He just got there. It'll be a long range relationship. Same thing happened to me. I was in the military. I went to flight
Right.
school after I got engaged. And so it can happen. You can meet somebody, and I've had long commutes. It works.
Yeah, it's about the expectations in relationships, in business, in anything.
Yeah.
It really is about the expectations of people. If they go in with the right expectations and they're met, then people can really deal with those things.
But that is one thing, balancing family life. Maybe a family makes you work harder in some aspects, but you also have to balance it, your time even more so.
Yeah, a lot of my coaching clients who have gone through my Perfect Day Formula program, they really love my help in being able to separate that work and home, which we talked about a little bit before. And sometimes when people have kids, they actually become much better entrepreneurs because they start doing less and they start cutting out all the stuff that really didn't make a difference, but they wanted to do it or they felt like they needed to do it. But at the end of the day, it didn't make a difference. And so sometimes that, throwing that amazingly difficult variable into the world can really make a beneficial, surprisingly beneficial impact on somebody's life.
That's another good point, Craig. Hey, Craig, with that, we're going to go to a quick break. On the break, for those who want to go over to the Timelines of Success or Timelines Netcast, you can see the YouTube clip and see what we talk about. We're going to put up some of your pages. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, we are on the break. Now I just have to find the right page. Let's see. The first page is where is it? Interesting. There it goes. No, I had to find the right page. We don't want to look at my email, but that's the right page. So here's your little form you filled out. I recognize that picture. That's the one you use in Men's Health, right?
Yep.
But down there. Okay. Let me share this. Present to everyone. Okay, so we're going to go on. So here is, I guess I slipped in ahead of time. That's one of your just little stories, or not stories, but your pages, or blogs. 10-minute exercise to stop. I looked at these different things. I do all these. These things I've gone over the process. You have to know how to do them correctly.
Right.
One thing though is in CrossFit that I really liked when I was in Kaya with the trainer is, you know how you talked about we only worked out about 20 minutes a day hard, but it was more of a social event where the first 40 minutes we got together and we practiced form.
Oh, okay.
And talked. We're just working on form.
Yeah.
Sit-ups on one of your bad lists, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, the research has been published time and time again. I mean, by a guy who gets his research published in the New York Times, and he's written a book about it, Dr. Stuart McGill. So it's you're just basically compressing the discs in your spine all day long, and when you do sit-ups, and so it does definitely lead to degradation over time.
I have to take there's 6 elements to the academy test for the police academy. And I've taken tons of tests for this to get here. And one of them, of course, is sit-ups and push-ups. They have a obstacle course. And then the run is the only thing, and they have a jump. You have to jump 14 inches over your reach.
Okay.
But the run, I'm a pretty good distance runner, but I had to go and train up for a 3:30, and I just did it. 68 seconds you have to do it. And I did 67 yesterday. But at
Oh,
my
okay.
age, you wear out and have to rest to get back in shape. So I'm gonna try to do like 3:30s. It's the only thing I need to work at. 3:30s and 2:20s, and then 1:10s, and then go back and 1:10s, 2:20s, 3:30s, just or stair stepping to get my speed up.
Right. And so is it age group, or
No,
is it you have to have the same fitness levels as everybody else?
same fitness levels as everyone else.
Wow.
Standards may be a little bit lower than what they were in the past, possibly,
Huh.
but I can. It makes you work harder, and as I'm older, I find it takes longer to recover and more work to keep the mass up. So anyway, let me go through. There's your Twitter site. Got a lot of followers. How long does it take you to get 19,000 followers?
Man, I've been on there forever, since like 2008. So
That's powerful. That's where Twitter does help you when you have that much.
yeah, I find that it's just really good for connecting with people.
See who you're following, and you are following 6 people here. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's very good. And you don't have your header up here. You don't have like it's black.
I don't even know how to put a header up there, but I'll tell my social media team to do something about that.
It's real easy to do, but that's still a great site. Amazon, I found your book.
Yeah.
Now, do you have other books up here?
I have one that's available on pre-order, which is The Great Cardio Myth. It doesn't come out until December.
Is this on audio, like Audible?
Yep.
I'll have to get it. I'll definitely get it today on Audible. I'm a big listener of books. I love to listen.
Yeah, it's a short book too, so it's super cheap on Audible and obviously very fast.
I usually listen to Audible, and then if I like the book, I'll buy it.
Cool.
That's how I listen. So let's go back here. Now, here's your home page. This is your about page. Nice page. Very good. How long have you had this page?
It really needs to be updated. Probably it's been like that for 2 years. I have
Good.
another website, craigballantyne.com, that has more about me.
Okay, maybe I'll find that. So here is one of your handouts you have. Your lead
Yeah.
magnets, we call them. It's a good one. It's actually a good one. I downloaded it, and everything is like what I need to do.
Yeah, that's actually a chapter in the book.
I really need to talk to my whole family. It's like my girls and my wife and I. She's an entrepreneur. We're like, we don't sleep a lot, especially my 16-year-old daughter. She needs to see
Yeah,
us.
teenagers need a ton of sleep.
Mm-hmm. And a little more early to rise. And there's your theme. So let me type in Craig. It's Craig Val. Let's see, CRA Craig, BALL.
Well, you forgot the I.
Craig.
Craig.
I.
No,
Oh,
the I goes
I
before
got
the
you.
G.
Yeah, Craig's List. LANTONE.com.
Yep.
That we'll get back to the show. So this is what do you do with this site? This is a coaching.
Under books and gifts, we send people to the free gift page, and there's even some more downloads. So
That's good. Coaching. Let me see. Whose picture is that? Oh, okay. Body Fit. So who are your clients?
well, we have the fitness people, and then we have high-end entrepreneurs who do a high-end coaching program with me about the perfect day formula to get them dialed in and more productive and more effective. And then I run a regular internet marketing mastermind. We have about 45 clients in it, and then we have all of our products that go out to our email list.
So I'm just going over this one more time to make sure that we capture all that. That's good. So with that, a couple seconds of silence, and we'll come back off our break. I might ask you a little bit more for the podcast about, before we go into life and success principles, about, we'll go right into it because I'm sure we'll talk a lot. We'll use all 10 minutes. So here we go. Let me stop sharing. We are back. Okay. Well, Craig, welcome back off the break. We're going to know my favorite part, life and success principles. And you've got, who better to ask, first of all, is somebody like yourself. You've got 5 really sharp, well-designed pillars here. And the first is better planning and preparation. What does that mean?
Well, everybody starts New Year's resolutions with something like, I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to make an extra $1,000. And that's fine and dandy. And that will only, but unfortunately, that will only get you through the first couple of weeks on motivation alone. You really need a great plan, because after 2 weeks of motivation and momentum, you're going to have tough days and you're going to quit if you don't have a plan. So if you have a plan and you know exactly what to do, if you come up against obstacles, you will have solutions in your plan to overcome those obstacles. And that's how you stay on track. So if somebody wants to lose 10 pounds, they have to have more than just that goal. They have to have the exercise program they're going to follow, their nutrition program, how much sleep they're going to get, how much water they're going to drink every day. They need to have that all planned ahead. And when you plan ahead, you can really succeed in life.
And, diet, I said this, I've written all my papers in the military. When we went to our academies, I always wrote my papers on diet. I just picked diet, less exercise, but diet is 80% of the battle, getting the right diet to build on too.
Oh, absolutely.
And then sleep, like you said, sleep. If you get some sleep, you're not going to be as hungry. And when you don't get enough sleep, I notice that's when you have to really battle eating carbs and things that keep you awake.
Yeah.
Like the chips or whatever it might be, the junk food.
Yeah.
So planning, are there any tools you use to plan with?
I have never used an app in my entire life. I've never downloaded one. So I just use pen and paper, to be honest with you. I'm very old school.
I use electronic, but then I've got this from a friend who I meant so nice. You can't really see it, but it's you put what you want to do if you're working on your desk, and then what you've actually done. And I actually use a timer. I hit a timer every so minutes to keep me on track. Something I'm testing to get more productive at the desk. Not, can't do it out in the real world. But so yeah, pen and paper actually is a great way to plan. I used to design, build, construction. We just print out calendars and I do Gantt charts right in the calendars of how we're going to build houses and subdivisions. It worked very, very well. Sometimes we might get carried away with all our fancy tools and spend more time.
Right. Sometimes planning becomes a form of procrastination. And so you do have to be careful with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So very good. So professional accountability. First of all, that's two different words. What do they mean?
It means having a coach, having a mentor of some kind. So professional accountability is going to give you expert advice. So it's going to be someone who has been there and done that and knows the secrets to success, and they're going to show you. And they're also going to hold you accountable. So if you screw up, they're going to say to you, hey, this is unacceptable. What are we going to do the next time around so that you don't make that mistake? So that is what professional accountability offers.
Very good. Is there what types of accountability, what types of professionals would hold someone accountable? What would someone use accountability for? With a business or with health or life or diet?
Well, with health, it's going to be your personal trainer. It could be your nutritionist. With business, you're going to have a business coach of some kind, some type of mentor, someone, again, who has achieved what you want to achieve and shares the same morals and ethics as you do, so that you stay on track and stay out of trouble, and so that you feel like you're making a difference and adding value, but without a guilty conscience. So you want to make sure that you have all those lined up when you're choosing your professional accountability.
When we're young, we have coaches in sports, we have coaches in even teachers, people to hold us accountable, like get your homework done. But it seems like when you go off into the business world, a lot of people don't have that.
No, everybody thinks they're all grown up. They don't need help. And that was one of the biggest mistakes that I ever made, was not hiring a business coach soon enough in my life. I waited until 2006, but I could have got one in 2003. And if I would have done that, I'd be helping probably 10 times more people today. So it was a big mistake on my part. And I hope that people listening don't make the same mistake.
Very good. So positive social support.
These are your cheerleaders in life. So it's slightly different than professional accountability, which we said was your coach. The cheerleaders are just going to be there to pick you up when you're feeling down. They're always going to say you can do it, but they never will have professional expert advice for you, because they haven't achieved what you want to achieve, and they won't hold you accountable. So if you mess up, they'll just say, oh, it's okay, get back on track. But they won't say, hey, what are we going to do to avoid that in the future? So you do need these people, though, on those tough days to pick you up when you're feeling down, but it's not the same as professional accountability.
That is like excellent. I've never heard that before, believe it or not. All these 260 interviews I've talked with folks, and I was thinking maybe that's like a parent or somebody close who believes
it. Could be, but in most cases, people are actually going to have a hard time getting social support, positive social support, from people that they're close to. A lot of the times we get negative support. We get negative feedback from people when we tell them our dreams. And so you do have to be careful when you're going out there and finding people to support you. If you know someone's going to be negative and say, oh, you'll never be able to do that, or I don't even want you to do that, then you really shouldn't share your dreams and goals with them. You just have to share it with positive people.
Very good. Meaningful incentive.
Yeah, I used to just call this the incentive, but then I realized that very much like setting that goal of losing 10 pounds at the start of the year, if you say, I'm going to do this so I buy myself a new pair of jeans, or I'm going to do this so I can go and buy myself a new watch, and that's not really meaningful and mattering to you, then you're going to give up during those hard days when those tough times come up and you say, oh, man, forget it. I don't really care about those jeans. I don't really care about that watch. But if you're trying to lose weight because, you want to get a new job, or, it's for your survival, or it's for your kids to have energy for them, so that you stay around until they graduate college, then you're going to change your life, because that is a meaningful incentive. And so you have to dig deep into your heart and your mind to figure out what really matters to you and use that as the incentive.
Very well said. And the big deadline.
Big deadline is the most powerful when you have all 5 in place. It has the greatest impact. The big deadline gives you, first of all, the motivation to get started, and it gives you that encouragement during those tough times, because you think, oh, you know what? I only have 3 more weeks to go. I can do this. I can do this. Just like when you run that marathon, in that last mile, you actually start to go a little bit faster because you see that finish line. And so that's the power of the big deadline.
That's so true. So excellent 5 points, and a lot, those easily said, but not always easily performed or done. It does take some work to put all those things in place.
Yeah, the hardest 2 for most people to get are the professional accountability, because they don't know who to go to, and positive social support, because so many people around them are negative. But you can actually get those 2 pillars of success online. So research shows that if someone tries to lose weight and they're using an online forum, they can still get great results. So you go to Facebook groups, or you go to membership sites, or you go and you find good, positive people online who are willing to support you, and that will work to help you get through those tough times.
I can see in the positive social support and the professional accountability. Very good. Excellent. I was going to ask actually a little bit more detail, but you sort of came in with some good points. So with that said, we're going to do a quick break, and we're going to come back and find out what the listener can do for you in a quick commercial. Okay, Craig, welcome back from the break. So first of all, how can the listener get a hold of you? And then give us a quick commercial, what the listener can do for you and what type of products you offer.
Right. So they can get a hold of me. The best way to do it is at twitter.com/Craig Ballantyne. That's the easiest way, just to send me a little message, and I can help you out any way that I possibly can. And then, I'd love for you to check out my book, Perfect Day Formula. It will help you get more done, make more money, and still get home on time for dinner. And you can watch a little video I made for you about the Perfect Day Formula Kit, which is more than just a book. It has a whole bunch of success tools in it at perfectdayformula.com.
Very good. And we'll have those also on Timelines of Success, Timelines Netcast, Podcasters Home, and a couple other places. So we'll have those links there that people can find. And also, if you just go, we're not sure when this is going to go up. I've got a new format now. We're actually doing one local and trying to do one remote podcast a week. So we're not sure when you're going to go up, but if you just go into Timelines on the search and type in Craig, you'll find all the Craigs, or you type in your last name, which is Ballantyne. To say that, did I do that right? Ballantyne? Ballantyne. Very good. Hey, so Craig, we always ask one last question. And this is an important question. I might even ask a few more because we got a couple more minutes here. So you're Canadian, you're down in the US, you travel a lot. What types of food do you like to eat?
Well, I eat a lot of protein bars, so I tend to take those on the airplanes, because you can't trust the food that you get on an airplane. And so I do like to go to steakhouses, though, when I'm settled. So I'll usually go and get steak, baked potato, and side of steamed or sautéed spinach is my go-to when I'm out at a place like Morton's, or wherever, Donovan's in San Diego, or any of these really fancy steak places that me and my business partners like to go to.
I was stationed in Kansas and in Omaha to school. Man, they got some great steakhouses there. And I live in Reno. We've got great steakhouses here. We got a great one. So if you get in Reno, I'll take you out to a great steakhouse. We actually split it, my wife and I. So very good. Hey, on your protein bars, a couple more minutes. Let's go into detail.
Yeah.
What type of protein bars should one eat? And the idea is if you eat protein bars, you can't be eating carbs, right?
Well, I mean, some protein bars will have carbohydrates in
Yeah.
them. It depends on what you classify them as.
Well, I mean,
But
high glycemic carbs.
right. I mean, you don't want the junky ones. You want to stay away from the ones that have fillers in them. So I eat paleo protein bars, which are not necessarily the greatest texture. They're still trying to figure out the manufacturing of that. They're very similar to a Quest bar. Quest bars are really popular these days. You can see those things even in the airports and in 7-Elevens and all over the place. So you've probably seen a Quest bar, and they're very much like a candy bar, but they actually have a lot healthier ingredients in them. But there's still a little bit of junk in there in terms of fillers and binders and stuff. So I do try and avoid the Quest bars. And then another popular bar that you can see at Whole Foods is called Epic bars, and they're actually like beef jerky in a bar format. And I really like those, so I like to buy the lamb and turkey flavor of that and carry those with me. And then I'll just buy a salad somewhere and have that with the Epic bars, and then some walnuts and an apple, and that's
Oh,
my healthy eating on the road.
right on it. I'm a big believer in eating nuts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
One of the papers I wrote when I was a young cadet at West Point was for Special Forces on best foods to take, and almost what you just described: nuts,
Well,
dried
you were
fruit.
ahead of the curve then. If you were writing that for West Point, I mean, people are just
I
catching
mean,
up to that now.
yeah, yeah. This was glycemic just hit us. I discovered the glycemic index around 2000. It was
Okay.
just starting to be published in the South Beach diet. So one last thing, we got a couple more seconds. What kind of diets do you like? I got South Beach. You mentioned the paleo. Paleo is good. South Beach. Those are things I
Yeah, I'm
like.
pretty close to paleo. I mean, Mediterranean is also very, very healthy,
Hmm.
but each one of these things can be twisted. I've seen paleo put on foods which are full of junk, because they say there's no artificial sweeteners in there, but then they put agave nectar in there, which is really just sugar. But because it's this fancy form of sugar that they can slap a paleo label on it. So really, at the end of the day, it's just whole natural foods. I would much rather someone eat real food than rely on protein bars for all their meals. If you're not on an airplane, shouldn't really need to eat a lot of protein bars. And so it's just really what mom and grandma would make, especially like I grew up on a farm and we had a garden, and so it was real food all the time.
No, real food is good, but if you're really busy and you're doing things, you don't want to miss meals, like a protein bar or something. I eat 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And the idea is to eat light and eat the right foods. I have girls, and every once in a while, I've got this addiction to the tortilla chips. So
Oh
I
yeah.
gotta break that. Well, Craig, I want to thank you for coming on. Stay on a few minutes afterward. We'll finish up the podcast. And one last time, tell us how we can get a hold of you.
You can get a hold of me at twitter.com/Craig Ballantyne.
Well, thank you, Craig. Perfect show.